Welcome everybody to the Cannabis Review. I am delighted to be joined on this episode by Dan Ulloa, who's the editor of Heady New Jersey, and he is here to talk to us all things about New Jersey. Dan, how are you keeping?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you very much. All is going well over here. You guys are talking the town at the moment. Can you maybe give everybody an overview of how you got into the cannabis industry and how you're the editor of Heady NJ?
Yeah, so I got into this, a few reasons. It was something big that, like, our governor, Phil Murphy, said when he was running for office, he supported. It seemed like a great industry to get into on the ground floor and something that was very political. I've been involved in politics for a long time, and, I've been a journalist covering politics. So covering cannabis politics in the industry seemed like a great fit. It's been
Okay,
quite a
amazing.
ride since. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been some journey for you so far.
Yeah.
Excellent. So you already have experience in the kind of overview of a political system and how a process of regulation would have already happened, and you're applying those skills to the cannabis industry in New Jersey. How long ago is Heady NJ set up? Can you tell the audience?
Yes, my business partner likes to be called DK Nuck. He set it up in 2017 when it looked like Governor Murphy was going to win the election, and that, like, he promised that the cannabis would be done quickly. Unfortunately, it was not done quickly. The process was a little longer than we liked, but we're still moving forward, and it's going really well. We had our adult use regulations were announced, and we're having the process for companies to start applying for licenses for that soon.
Okay, amazing. So that's kind of leads me on to the first topic I want to talk about. It's just an overview of the New Jersey situation. So everybody kind of has a clear perspective over here in Europe. I'm sure everybody in America knows, but can you maybe give how far away are you guys from selling products in the stores? Or are there a full range of products already available? I saw something about there being a ban on baked goods and candy edibles. Is that being enforced or part of the regulation?
Yes, yes. So that's one of the most difficult things about, like, our regulations, is that while they were really good towards, like, being conducive to small businesses opening and people who had been really harmed by the war on drugs, securing a cannabis license, one thing is they're not going to allow baked goods. They're not going to allow a lot of the chocolates, a lot of the gummies that people really like in the underground market, quite unfortunately. But their interim regulations, they might be changed within a year, so we'll see about that. But we do have our medical cannabis dispensaries that sell, like, they do have flour at least, so a few concentrates and lozenges. So though that we're looking at sometime next year, in the first half of the year, either winter or spring. We're looking for the official start of the adult use sales to begin.
Okay, amazing. And is it a free for all for brands who are selling flour now in New Jersey? Is it the people who get in, get the best locations, the best retail stores set up, or how exactly would the flour be dispensed? Is it going through a medical facility or is it going through a dispensary?
Yeah, so we have, like, our medical dispensaries. Many of them are going to be allowed to sell adult use cannabis, so they'll be the ones dispensing the cannabis. And then we're going to have a license application process for more dispensaries, exclusively adult use. So that's like that process. Those dispensaries might take a year or two to open at least, while, like, our medical dispensaries can start selling next year.
Okay, so it seems to be the slowly method, so they don't
Yes.
burn themselves too badly just in case anything did go wrong, whereas nothing's obviously going to go wrong. We know this. Can you maybe, as a political writer and somebody who has an overview from a political background, explain Cannabis Control Board in New Jersey and around America? What is the criteria made up of for these boards to be created? Is it civil servants who've been working in government a long time mixed with business folk, or what exactly is the criteria for in New Jersey's Cannabis Control Board?
So that's a really good question. So we have ours is the Cannabis Regulatory Commission. In New York, it's the Cannabis Control Boards, but they're very similar, I would say. So in New Jersey, it's really people who have been involved in the policy and the politics of this, and they're all political appointees, for example. So it's really um, a partisan process in that respect. But then, like, a lot of the people who have done who were appointed to our board, we have 5 people in New Jersey. You know, they have like a lot of great experience in the policy of this, but people have like criticized it, saying that, you know, there's nobody in the industry on the board, but then there's nobody with who could be influenced that way too.
Okay, so there's a double-edged sword there, that having industry people generally does help make the legislation and the overview of the industry that little bit clearer for the people writing the rules. But at the same time, they don't have a vested interest when there's nobody in there who doesn't have a toe in the industry per se.
Yeah, yes, that's really the catch. So far, like, our CRC has done a good job. It's just, as you were saying, you know, slowly but surely we're getting there. So one just has to understand that pace right now.
And do you guys have a limited amount of licenses, or is it an open market system that there is no cap on the amount of applications that can come in? There's just a certain level that businesses will have to be set up by. I'm sure you just don't get handed a license. You have to prove the premises exists, capital in the bank accounts, board of directors have to be vetted, and all that pertinent information.
Yeah, so that's a really good question, because we've been having like a problem with like our medical cannabis, whereby we only have 23 license dispensary locations, but we only have 12 license holders for medical cannabis, and that process has been very elaborate with the need for like great amounts of capital. So we're really looking towards like adult use, where there's only one official cap, 37 large scale cultivators will be the max. But that is like a 2-year thing that ends February 2023. So otherwise, there are no caps, and there's no caps on micro cultivation either. So that's one of the things that's really heartening. That makes me like excited about our adult use market. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the adult use market is where everybody has the real excitement in. Can you maybe give us how long does the process for a license take currently at the moment, or do you see a lot of the brands waiting for the recreational licenses to come up, or are they already available for businesses to apply for?
No. So the interim regulations were released in August. The request for applications RFA process has not yet begun. But it is like a really good question, like what the process is going to look like, because like our medical cannabis license process has been very difficult, that it was very expensive, that so few companies have been licensed. So this is really trying to change the whole process and create like a new process that's a lot easier. But it's one of those things we're still seeing like how it's going to play out.
And in terms of taxation, has that been set? Has there been kickback from the industry so far? Have they set a ridiculous taxation level to products and to the industry, or has they been reasonable and sensible?
Yeah, you know, we're actually reasonable in that fashion. I think a lot of people were looking at California and saw that they have what
Yeah.
some say like, you know, like an oppressive tax that makes it that their gray market in California is insanely thriving because the tax is so terrible. So we have a competitive tax. We're actually better than New York in that way. So I'm excited for that actually. So we'll see what happens.
Okay, and do you see the kind of brings me on to the last topic now, the players in New Jersey? Do you see the players in New Jersey being the cookies, the players that are already established in the certain other states that have legalization, or do you see entrepreneurs in New Jersey and New York that could take the Eastern Seaboard by storm?
Yeah, I think we really here in New Jersey want like our locals to receive the licenses. We really want to create local companies. You know, there's a lot of them here that have a lot of entrepreneurs here. A lot of people with a lot of like zest to like create a company, get that going. And you know, we have in our regulations that micro licenses are favored. Those in like neighborhoods that were really impacted by the war on drugs are going to be favored in getting a license. And we're looking to really see like companies like that. We already have, of our 12 license holders, 10 of them are already multi-state operators, MSOs. So like, I guess like the few remaining ones might be able to get one in, but the ideal is really, to favor small businesses, the small manufacturers that make like the Ghirardelli's chocolate, for example, of cannabis, something like the high end or the niche product like that. Where's the PBR? The PBR of cannabis too. Something like niche, kind of like quirky that way. We're looking for products like that, and that's what people are really excited about. So
Yeah,
it's going to be really interesting. Yeah.
I think there's definitely going to be a territorial aspect about this where everybody's going to want to have their own brand or their own unique product that's reflective of their demographic and their exact territory. That you might love Coca-Cola, but you'd always buy a local farmer's cola if you bought it at the market type thing.
Yeah, yeah. So that'll be like really interesting to see. And then like there's restrictions around brands because then like if you're gonna be selling cannabis, you can't really have a mascot. So companies are gonna have to like really be creative, I think, in the way they brand themselves and differentiate themselves. Because arguably, like I haven't really seen a lot of differentiation, a lot of like interesting brands in our market so far. And I think that's one of the things about cannabis in general is that like a lot of these brands are not that memorable. I'd say like Cookies is up there, but like who else?
But this is the thing. We think that there's certain territories. I think Ireland is definitely going to be one of them once legalization fully comes here, and we've got grow at home laws, and we've got some of the best farmers in the world over here. I don't doubt for a minute that there'll be a number of strains and genetics created out of this country, and a number of baked goods and edible products. Because if we're renowned for two things, it's farming and good food. So I can see Europe definitely coming to the global market when it all gets legalized over here.
Oh yeah, that would be really interesting. Yeah, like I always hear about Ireland. They say like the Guinness is different because of the water, so it would be interesting to see what unique Irish products come out.
Yeah, well, that's it. Look what we did with alcohol. You'd never mind what we're going to do with cannabis next.
Well, there
And
you
tell me
go.
this now, for everybody who hasn't checked out the website, it's HeadyNJ.com. The link is just down there below. Some great articles, highly recommended, especially if you're in the States. It should be a must read for everybody. If you're in Europe, highly recommend checking it out to keep you up to date with what's going on in New Jersey. What are you excited about over the next coming months? Let's say the next 12 to 18 months. What are the big things that you're looking forward to? Is it having a pre-rolled brought freshly out of the store, or is it buying some premium flour that you haven't had a selection from yet? What's the number one thing you're looking forward to?
Yeah, so like the opening of our adult use market should be interesting, and it'll be interesting to see like what products are available because that's been an issue. Our medical cannabis has also been has not been like really like high quality. It's also been like a little expensive. So we're hoping that like eventually that goes away and seeing like affordable cannabis, seeing like different unique strains and unique flower will be like really interesting and seeing like a lot of these like new companies like getting up and running, getting licenses will be like really interesting. So I'm excited for that. People say we New Jersey could have the second biggest market in the United States after California because unlike California, it's really easy to go from like city to city. Like on the East Coast here, for example, Baltimore, Maryland, Washington, D.C., Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, they're all pretty close, 3 hour drive for the weekend, and their states really aren't moving cannabis. So as the first mover, we could really have the advantage there.
So there's going to be a tourism corridor for smoking the best blaze on the East Coast within the next few years, is there?
Yeah, yeah, that's what we're hoping here.
That sounds like a great plan to me, man. I'd be booking my ticket straight away if I knew about that. So we're nearly up at the time here. I can't thank you enough, Dan, for coming on the show. It's been great to chat to you. I hope we catch up again in the new year when the adult recreational market is fully up on its legs and up and running, and we can give us an update on how everything's going, Dan.
Absolutely, yeah, yeah. It was great talking to you, then.
You too. Thanks everybody for watching. We'll see you on the next episode.